to celebrate the return of photonic induction, Andy is back, and he's blowing up more crap than ever. I figured I would celebrate that in my own way. We're going to get medieval on a cable box today. You want to see some flames and sparks? You're in for a treat. Coming right up. Today we're going to tear this thing down. This is a Eris DCX 3200M, and the guy that gave me this did some work for him on his DVD recorder. I said, "What do you mean the Shaw doesn't want this back? This isn't that old." He says, "Nope, they told him to recycle it." So he gave it to me to tear down so we can take a look inside this one and see what makes this thing tick. It was given to me to tear down, and tear down it will be done. Let's see what's in the M card device. Is there an M card in this thing? That's why I blocked out the number there, just so that there's no traceability of the unit. Is there an M card in this one? There is. A media cipher card. Well, we know what's going to be inside this. Let's take this thing apart and see what is in it. Are there any goodies that we can keep? I don't know. I don't think this one's got a hard drive in it. I think this is just a straight cable box. Oh, look at that. If you fail to succeed, put some heat on it. Get that smell of burning plastic. Much better. Okay, screws are out. Let's pop out the board. Alright, so here's the inside of this unit. We remove the retaining nut here for the cable connector. So what we've got here, we've got, of course, Ethernet and USB. It's got the HDMI connector here, and your standard composite and component outputs and digital audio, and this would be your coaxial input. And they've got these boxes shielded with, it looks like just a type of an aluminum tape, which is what they've got on here, just to keep them completely RF tight, because there's a couple of small holes in there. I guess they feel that those little vent holes could possibly radiate some signal, so they've just completely covered these units up like that. But other than that, these boxes themselves are soldered right down to the board, and they've even got RF tight covers on the bottom here. They really were concerned about possible interference, weren't they? I've got a shield on the bottom here that can be probably removed. We're going to pull this thing right apart. Okay, some shielding there. And we've got the main chip on the top here. Let's just take a look at this. We'll just remove this heat sink. Oh, that was good. The heat sink compound is pretty dry on here. That's why these boxes fail, I think, a lot of times, is that they overheat. And they've got, this is an RF shielding around the processor to stop any RF leaking out from under the chip. So they've gone the extra mile as far as shielding. This thing's got more shielding on it than I ever expected to find, including shielding on the board here and shielding around the IC. And of course these BGA chips, which we're going to be removing fairly quickly here. We've got the cable card slot, which again is fully shielded. Got a shield cover there. This one here is soldered down to the board. I'll probably pop that off. There we go. And there's the connector that connects to the PCM CIA type card that slides into there, just like that. Now what this is for is, this is the, somehow this goes in. This is the decryption. So this is just the processor to control the tuner and demodulate the RF signal, and then pass the encrypted data on over to the M card over here, the media cipher, which is what's going to decipher the picture itself. I can probably keep this display, not that I don't really know what I might have any use for it, but the display itself is something that might be useful to keep, and everything else on this thing is not really much use for anything. So let's start removing chips. We'll use a heat gun and we'll just heat these chips up and remove them from the board to show underneath how they are attached. These are BGA mounted chips, ball grid array, and if we heat up the board, we'll melt the solder and the chip will lift off. This was actually attached very well. I'm having to get this pretty warm to remove this chip. There we go, that one's done. How about these memory chips? How easy do these ones come off? Get them hot enough and they'll just blow right off the board. Take some inductors off. That chip had lots and lots of board as hot as fire now. I feel the heat coming off this board. I get that thing so hot to melt all that solder. Look at that, it's still molten. Look at this. I can touch it and smear it. This is still so hot that this solder is still melted. And if I were to keep my finger on there for any more than a fraction of a second, I had to give myself a nice burn. Okay, so that is that. I think we'll have some fun with a couple capacitors on here. I don't think there's much left of this processor. I don't think it's going to work anymore. What do you guys think? Do you think there's much chance in this thing computing anything? I'm kind of being destructive today. It's a fireworks show! We'll see if this M card is any easier to open than that Motorola one was that I had before that I took apart a while back. Let's see if there's any difference in the construction of these ones than the Motorola one. This one appears to be a little easier to open right from the get-go. Now, does this one have a battery in it or not? The Motorola one had a battery in it. I wonder if this one does as well. You would think that it probably would, because an M card should be an M card, right? But who knows? Different companies do things differently, right? The Motorola one used a battery because it had RAM that needed battery power to maintain it. And this one does not. So there you go, there's the differences right there. The Motorola M card that we took apart in the last video, it had a lithium battery in it. And this one here is all flash memory. So it's got test points for testing it before it gets put into its cabinet, into its metal case, and it just snaps on, it looks like. Obviously these are grounding points which touch up against the inside of this to ground it. But there's the cipher. Again, it's got a couple VGA chips on here and some memory. (2011), so this is 10 years old. That's probably why they scrapped it, because of the age. I'm sure the technology. This may have just been an MPEG-2 only cable box, and that's probably why they've said scrap it, because everything's moving to MPEG-4. And I bet you this was just an MPEG-2 compatible board, and it's not compatible with the new systems. That would be why they were recycling them. That's my thought anyway, is that otherwise I can't see why, you know, they would just toss these things out if they could reuse them. But it's possible that that's the reason, is that these are the older, being a 2003 board or 2013 board, probably all MPEG-2 compression on this, and now everything moving to MPEG-4 and beyond. H.265 is of course the new codec that the cable companies are all moving towards, because it allows for higher resolution with less bandwidth, is where everything's going. So that's more than likely the reason why, when the guy canceled his service that owned this, and they just said, yeah, just recycle the box. So we've done that. We've recycled this one today. We've taken it all to pieces, and now I'll just send it off for recycling, and we'll be done with it. Anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll do something a little bit less destructive. I've got a few things here to work on, so we'll get started on them, and we'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.